Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 2 of Written in Red Wednesdays. I just want to thank you all so much for um, tuning in last week and listening in on my poem. And for those of you who were hearing my story for the first time, I'm sorry that I cried with you guys. And I'm very emotional. Everyone who knows me knows that, but I wasn't expecting to cry like that. But, anyways, so today I have a poem called Starved. I know that last week I had said I was working on 2 new pieces that I'd have ready for you guys this week. Unfortunately, work got in the way and I couldn't finish those pieces as well as I would have wanted to because, like I said, work got in the way and I was just doing so much stuff. Anyways, so this piece that I have today, hello everyone, and thank you guys for being in here. I'm gonna wait till the room kind of clears up, gets a little bit more packed before I start the new poem. But like I said, it is called Starved, and if you follow me on Instagram, the link is in my bio to read it. So just in case you guys want to get familiar with it, I posted it like 2 or 3 days ago. But yeah, I mean, this year it has already, like I said last week, it's already started off great for me, and I'm so thankful that things are looking in the right direction for me at the moment. So hopefully, with this new series, everything will go as planned for me, and with what I have planned for the rest of the year. Now, for those of you who know me, you know that I have to have I always go over the top for myself for my birthday. So next month, February 18th, the day after my actual birthday, my friends and I, the wonderful guys over at All My Homies and Get Free Inc., will be hosting a birthday party slash show at Vintage in downtown Orlando from 5 to 10. February 18th, like I said. That's going to be exciting. What else can I tell you guys before I start this poem? Well, I'm not sure what else I can really update you guys on because I will be kind of updating you with whatever comes along the week. I mean, like after the next episode. So, like I said, yeah, we will be at Vintage for my birthday on February 18th, but my actual birthday is February 17th. So I couldn't do it that Friday, so I will have to do it that Saturday. And there will be performances, there will be live art, there will be pop-up shops. I cannot wait to be able to announce everything to you guys. That announcement will be coming shortly via flyer. And so yeah. But anyways, let me go ahead and start off with the poem, the first run around, and let me know what you guys think of it. Okay, so this poem is called Starved, and it's actually, I was listening to a poem at work the other day by Elizabeth Acevedo, who is a Dominican poet from New York as well. She is incredible. I love her work. She did a poem called Bittersweet Love Poem, and the first line was, poetry is a woman with a well-developed palate for sour things, and I always indulge her appetite. So I heard that line and I was just like, holy crap, this is exactly how I view poetry, because poetry's always been there for me when I'm feeling a little out of it, when I go through something with someone. So what I did was I took that line and I kind of made it into my own story and played around with the idea a little bit. So here goes Starved. I heard once that poetry is a woman with a well-developed palate for sour things, and I always indulge her appetite. But in the last year, I starved her. I watched as she crawled her way out of my skin and made a home for herself on street corners, begging others and myself for change. Poetry is evil. She is the devil watching from the trenches, waiting for me to fall into some shit and get hurt again just so that I remember she exists. I spent the better half of my 25th year trying to reason with her, but she insisted on giving me the cold shoulder. Poetry watched as I pushed her back to welcome strangers who were incapable of satisfying the sweet tooth that poetry always fed the right way. I shouldn't have starved my bloodline like that. Because just like my mother, she breathed life into me. She was there when I took my first steps onto center stage and proceeded to undress my skeletons. How dare I be so selfish? So that was the first run of Starved. Thank you guys for tuning in as the poem went by. I'm going to take a little bit of a break and kind of just reiterate what I was talking about at the beginning of the episode, where basically I was just announcing that on February 18th at Vintage in downtown for the day party, the guys over at AMH and Get Free Inc. will be hosting my 26th birthday party. Holy crap, 26. And to think of it, I've been doing this since I was 22, 23. And I'm 4 years into it now. That's insane to me. And, you know, every year I'm just getting better and better. And just more opportunities are being given to me because of the hard work that I put into all of this. And you know, building everything that I've built in the last 4 years of relationships that I've built, the networks that I've connected, the people that I've come in contact with, even, you know, well-known and well locally respected people. It's crazy that I'm on my way to becoming one of those people, and it is not only incredible, but it's such a big blessing because I thought, you know, that maybe I would be better off doing this in New York and not here, but I mean, here I am, and I'm little old me is taking the city by storm, and that wasn't even really the whole plan. The whole plan was for me to start this and move to New York with it as soon as I could, but things got in the way, life got in the way, and kind of reality kind of just, you know, knocked some sense into me. But yeah, so February 18th at Vintage. Don't miss it. It's free mimosas from 5 to 7 and $5 drinks after that. We'll be having live art, pop-up shops, performances. Maybe by me, I don't know. Hosted by someone who is incredibly close to me, and I love him to death. And thank you for... Mom, I love you. You're gonna make me cry. Mom, listen, last week I cried on this episode, and today when I started this, I told my friends that I was not gonna cry. So do not make me cry, and do not make my friends cry, okay? I love you though. Okay, so this is run 2 of Starved. I believe I'm missing a line, so if I pause anywhere in between, forgive me, but that's just me kind of trying to remember what goes where. But I mean, that's obviously going to get better as I redo the poem and redo it, because this goes on for maybe half an hour to an hour. This will stop when I know that I have the poem right down pat. So, okay, so this is the second run of sorry, the dog caught me off guard. This is the next run of Starved. I heard once that poetry is a woman with a well-developed palate for sour things, and I seem to indulge her appetite. And I seem to always indulge her appetite. But in the past year, I starved her. I watched as she crawled her way out of my skin and made a home for herself on street corners, begging others and myself for change. Poetry is evil. She is the devil watching from the trenches, waiting on me to fall into some shit and get hurt again, just so I remember she exists. I spent the better half of my 25th year trying to reason with her, but she insisted on giving me the cold shoulder. Poetry witnessed as I pushed her back to welcome strangers who were incapable of satisfying the sweet tooth that poetry always fed the right way. Poetry always fed the right way. I shouldn't have starved my bloodline like that, because just like my mother, she breathed life into me. She was there when I took my first steps onto center stage. And proceeded to undress my skeletons. How dare I be so selfish? Now, I know that it's shorter than my usual poems, but I mean, and I was trying to make it longer, but I felt like this was just like the right length for this poem, because I feel like if I made it any longer, I was gonna have to go into like way into deep to that shit. But I feel like metaphorically it was just perfectly fine, so that's why I kept it like that. But I also kind of want to revisit old pieces and see if I remember them. So like that's what I'm gonna also be doing with this series as well. So I'm gonna actually do or try to do Paranoid, which is one of my favorite pieces from like 2014. This was like 3 years ago. This was, after the whole Freddie Gray, and I believe it was Freddie Gray. Well, no, this was basically 2 years right after everything was happening with Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman and everything else. I wrote this piece called Paranoid, which is basically from the perspective of a Hispanic mother, knowing that after, the police kills off every innocent black man, their next target will unfortunately be young Latino men, young Hispanic men, and even women too. But this is not me, this is not me targeting the police in any way. This was just something that came from the heart when I was writing it, and it actually appeared on my first project that dropped on SoundCloud in 2015 that was titled Alone at the Round Table. So this is Paranoid. In the future, the first words I will teach my son are going to be, don't shoot. He might be as light as his mother with eyes as green as the trees in the sidewalk, but his aura will scream Latino. Second target to a bullet by a so-called cop. My son will learn how to protect himself from the angry men his father and I warned him about by putting his hands up. My daughter, on the other hand, will have to grieve because her brother was shot anyway. I will teach her the words, don't die, I need you. Without my brother, I can't breathe. My children, no. Some people might think I'm being a bit paranoid, but I'm just teaching my children how to blend in with everyone else. How to wear camouflage clothing on their way home from school so that their ethnicity doesn't drip from their clothing. Some of you might think I'm being a bit paranoid. I'm just preparing myself for the loss of my son. Because no matter how many times he swears he'll be fine, there's a chance I will one day get that phone call. Now, I feel like I'm definitely missing a big chunk of that piece. Either that or I just haven't done it in so long that I feel like it's so damn short. But that was Paranoid. And so, yeah. If you guys have noticed, I actually have a different scenery back here than I did last week. I'm actually back at my place. I was at my mom's for the holidays. I loved being there, but it also feels great to be back at my place because my room is like my sanctuary, my safe place where I come to write and come to think and everything else. I'm sure that every artist has that like room where they feel the best in. And I mean, of course, I live with my parents. Or I live with them for 25 years, but it was time for me to kind of just branch out and kind of do my own thing as an artist and as a growing adult. But anyways, so that was Paranoid, and I'm going to go ahead and do Starved again, just so that I can get a little bit more familiar with the piece, because I just learned it today, just like how last week I did Girls Like Me. I learned it that very same day, and like that day I had the paper with me, but today I was like, no, I'm going to learn it and recite it to myself as many times as I possibly can so that I have it memorized and I'm not relying on paper this week. But yeah, so here's Starved again. I heard once that poetry is a woman with a well-developed palate for sour things, and I seemed to indulge her appetite. But for the past year, I starved her. I watched as she made her way out of my skin and made a home for herself on street corners, begging others and myself for change. Poetry is evil. She is the devil watching from the trenches, waiting on me to fall into some shit and get hurt again, just so that I remember she exists. I spent the better half of my 25th year trying to reason with her, but she insisted on giving me the cold shoulder. Poetry witnessed as I pushed her back to welcome strangers who were incapable of satisfying the sweet tooth that she always fed the right way. I shouldn't have started my bloodline like that. I should have known better than to start my bloodline like that. Because just like my mother, she breathed life into me. She was there when I took my first steps onto center stage. And proceeded to undress my skeletons. How dare I be so selfish? Now, I'm not sure why this is happening, but I'm getting really bad anxiety and stage fright. I guess it's because as crazy as this is about to sound, I actually feel better performing in front of live crowds. So please do me a favor, like just, drop a couple of emojis, drop like a red lip emoji or like something, so like let me know that you guys are here and watching, because this silence and this like quietness is making me feel really uncomfortable at the moment, and I don't like it, and I need energy to be able to like want to perform. So I'm gonna wait a couple minutes for the room to kind of fill up and feel the love again, because I'm not feeling it right now, and it's making me a little jittery and kind of anxious, and I'm messing up because of that. So please drop some love, because I need it right now. Thank you, Maylin. Always there. A big thank you also to everyone who tuned in last week and is tuning in again this week. That meant a lot. Like, that means so much to me, because a lot of you, I've only shared a simple hi, how are you kind of ordeal, and the fact that you guys are here listening to this and kind of rocking with me for the next couple minutes, that really does mean a lot to me. Thank you so much. I really do hope that this can be an ongoing thing throughout the year. I don't want to have to stop this, because this is going to help me grow as an artist, but also it's going to help you guys kind of get to know me a little bit better as a person. Because I'm very open, like I said last week. I have no problem telling people my life story when I'm having conversations with them, but I feel like as an artist, there's a certain vulnerability that like you have to be so open with people, because you're literally sharing pieces of and I hate the word literally, but like you're really sharing pieces of yourself with people who have no idea who you are sometimes, or who have seen you, in shows or at venues, and they've watched you perform, or they've heard about you. And it's crazy to think that people, like, that's like the situation with me and the people at the time. Like, people really, like I said last week, people tell me like, oh, you're not, and I'm like, oh yeah, hi. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's also a wonderful feeling. I guess drop questions if you guys may have any. Maybe kind of living up the mood a little bit, because this is kind of dead today. I'm not particularly happy about it. I really thought that last week was fairly well, and today is kind of just like not. I'm not feeling it today, so please help me out here, guys. So, while you guys are debating on showing me love and stuff, I'm going to go ahead and run with the next run of Starved. I'm not sure how many times I've done this poem already, but here we go. I heard once that poetry is a woman with a well-developed palate for sour things, and I always indulge her appetite. But in the past year, I starved her. I watched as she crawled her way out of my skin. As she crawled her way out of my skin, I watched as she crawled her way out of my skin and made a home for herself on street corners, begging myself and others for change. Poetry is evil. Poetry is the devil watching from the trenches, waiting on me to fall into some shit and get hurt again, just so that I remember she exists. I spent the better half of my 25th year trying to reason with her, and she insists on giving me the cold shoulder. Poetry witnessed as I pushed her away. And welcomed strangers who were incapable of satisfying the sweet tooth. She always fed the right way. I should have known better than to start my bloodline like that. Because just like my mother, she breathed life into me. She was there when I took my first steps onto center stage and proceeded to undress my skeletons. How dare I be so selfish? Now let me know if you guys are fucking with that poem or not, because what I did with that poem was basically, it was basically a way of me personifying poem, and how if you know me personally and you know me as a writer, you know that like last year I did not have a good year with my writing. I was slacking tremendously, because I just feel like the first half of last year, it was a great year for me, and I didn't feel like I had to write at all. And so I kind of kept poetry on the back burner a little bit, and it hurt me to have to do that, and it hurts to have to even admit that at this moment. But I was at a point in my life where like I feel like I didn't need poetry to help me cope, because I was doing fine. because I started doing poetry when I was going through a really bad breakup 4 years ago. Like that kind of skyrocketed into what I have now with Red Lipstick and Hip Hop and the Sesh and everything else. So this is kind of like an apology to poetry in a way, kind of telling her, listen, I know that I should have done a lot better when it came to communicating. It's kind of like I'm trying to get someone back into my life, because I'm telling her, listen, I know I had trouble communicating with you last year, but this is me kind of trying to make things better between us now, because I do need you, not because I'm hurting or anything, or I'm in a situation where I need to be back with you, but in a way that like poetry and I, we go together. You know what I mean? Poetry, I don't want to say that without poetry there'd be no Nat, but like without me writing, I feel like I'm not who I've built myself to be, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm not discrediting myself at all, because I feel like I've worked hard to be where I'm at now. So, thank you guys for believing in me and everything. But yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and run through the poem again. And this might be my last run for the night, because I'm not feeling the energy at all tonight. I'm so sorry, but the energy is dead and I'm not feeling it at the moment. So maybe either come back later or next week. I don't know. But here's Starved for the last time tonight. I heard once that poetry is a woman with a well-developed palate for sour things, and I seem to indulge her appetite. But for the past year, I starved her. I watched as she crawled her way out of my skin and made a home for herself on street corners, begging others and myself for change. Poetry is evil. She is the devil watching from the trenches. She is the devil watching from the trenches, waiting on me to fall into some shit and get hurt again, just so that I remember she exists. I spent the better half of my 25th year trying to reason with her, and she insisted on giving me the cold shoulder. Poetry watched as I pushed her away to welcome strangers who were incapable of satisfying the sweet tooth she always fed the right way. I should have known better than to start my bloodline like that, because just like my mother, she breathed life into me. She was there when I took my first steps onto center stage and proceeded to undress my skeletons. How dare I be so selfish? So yeah, that was Starved for the last time tonight. I'm actually going to go ahead and do last week's poem. What I'm going to actually do is once I do a poem, like last week's poem, I'll always do it the following week, just to let you guys see the improvement and everything else, if there is any, because I'm almost sure I have that one down packed. But here is Girls Like Me from last week. Girls like me, we move different. Our hearts make up for what we lack in height, so we have a tendency to fall into things like quicksand, leaving us clenched in Cupid's chokehold. See, in girls like me, we fall harder. On a bad day, we're thunder and lightning. On a better day, we're just rain. And on our worst days, we're hurricane winds. Although small, we shake shit up when we storm into a place. Our love is often appreciated, yet less likely to be looked for again. No matter how hard we fall for men whose cold shoulders have given us our own pedestal to stand on, we always become their hype woman, never the girlfriend. We rile up crowds before we walk into a place and are forgotten about once the feature comes on stage. Our legs don't spread like butter, so they keep us on back burners. I'm sorry guys, I'm not doing well when it comes to that poem today, but here's Starved again for the last time. And I'm sorry, but today I'm just really not feeling it. I'm not sure what's going on with the energy tonight, but I'm not feeling as good as I was last week when it comes to the setup of everything tonight. I guess I may have rushed everything. But here is Starved. I heard once that poetry is a woman with a well-developed palate for sour things, and I always indulge her appetite. But for the past year, I starved her. I watched as she crawled her way out of my skin and made a home for herself on street corners, begging others and myself for change. Poetry is evil. She is the devil watching from the trenches, waiting for me to fall into some shit and get hurt again, just so that I remember she exists. For the better half of my 25th year, I tried to reason with her, but she insisted on giving me the cold shoulder. Poetry witnessed as I pushed her back to welcome strangers who were incapable of satisfying the sweet tooth. She fed every day. How dare I starve my bloodline like that? Because just like my mother, she breathed life into me. She was there when I took my first steps onto center stage and proceeded to undress my skeletons. How dare I be so selfish? Tell me if you guys are fucking with it or not, because you guys are kind of quiet today. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's you guys. Maybe it's Wednesday. What's going on? Talk to me, guys. I need to hear from you. I don't want to. I'm in here alone today. Please. Hello, Chris. How are you? Listen, don't make me get your uncle on you, okay? Oh man. You guys are mighty quiet tonight. What's going on? Oh my god. Hello, niece. Niece, come back home. So like I was saying earlier at the beginning of the episode, for those of you who are just walking in or just kind of settling in, but on February 18th, at Vintage in downtown Orlando, myself and a very good friend of mine who will be kept a surprise and a secret for now, myself, my good friends, the guys at AMH and the Get Free Inc. guys will be hosting a birthday party for me on the 18th, my 26th birthday party. We have performances by a couple of great Orlando artists who will be kept a surprise for time being. We have live art. We have pop-up shops. That's going to be a great night. Like I said earlier, it's free from 5 to 10. Free mimosas from 5 to 7, and then $5 drinks after that. Great music, great vibes, and I hope the whole city comes out. That's going to be a great time. I've been in the habit of doing birthday shows for the last 3 years of me being in this business, so I feel like I wouldn't have had it any other way. So yeah. Let's see. Okay, so people are pouring in. Finally, hello everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in. I was about to give up on everyone and just go, but thank you guys for tuning in. And Maylin, thank you so much. Your words are incredible. I greatly appreciate you. You are the best, and I have so much love for you for showing all that love. Denise, the corned beef was amazing. I'm taking some to work tomorrow. Just hopefully there's enough for you. I will see if there's enough for me to take to you tomorrow at work. Okay. But yeah, so this is gonna be the next run of Starved, for those of you who missed it the first couple times, and it goes like this. Denise, shut up. Okay, it goes like this. I heard once that poetry is a woman with a well-developed palate for sour things, and I always indulge her appetite. But for the past year, I starved her. I watched as she crawled her way out of my skin and made a home for herself on street corners. A home for herself on street corners, begging others and myself for change. Poetry is evil. She is the devil watching from the trenches, waiting on me to fall into some shit and get hurt again, just so that I remember she exists. I spent the better half of my 25th year trying to reason with her, but she insisted on giving me the cold shoulder. Poetry watched as I pushed her away to welcome strangers who were incapable of satisfying the sweet tooth she always fed the right way. I shouldn't have started my bloodline like that, because just like my mother, she breathed life into me. She was there when I took my first steps onto center stage. And proceeded to undress my skeletons. How dare I be so selfish? Again, guys, drop some emojis, drop something to let me know that you're here. Let me know what you think about the poem. Talk to me about your day. I want to talk to you guys because I feel like I'm always just talking to... Talk to me. I'm always talking to y'all. Talk to me. What's going on? What good music have you heard? Hey, Christian, are you working on anything new? You know, well, I know you are because you told me that you were, but what's going on with that? I want to hear it. Talk to me, people. Let me know what's going on. But thank you guys for being here with me. I do appreciate that. That is very... honestly, greatly, totally appreciated. I love you all. Yeah, so there's that. I was so happy to be off from work today, too. I feel like I needed this day off. I got a lot done today. Whew, it was definitely needed, and then I have Sunday off again. I see that some of my family's in here. Hello, Tito. How are you? Where's the rest of the crew? Nicey, are you still in here? Guys, tell me, does this lighting look better? Because I have just a lamp on, not the actual light. Does this lighting look better than last time? Because, I mean, remember that I am in a different setting than I was last week. So the lighting is going to look a little bit different. But I feel like I like this lighting a little bit better because it's just more clear and more... Like, the dimness is just kind of cool. It kind of sets the mood for things. No? But, yeah. I'm honestly really excited to be working on a couple things. This year is going to be a good one when it comes to my writing. I can't wait to show the rest of the world what I'm doing with this. You know, it's very rewarding to be able to do this. To be able to share my poems with you guys once a week. Because, like I said last week, you know, Tuan and I are kind of taking a break from the sesh a little bit just to kind of revamp and rework a couple things and kind of bring it back a little bit better. But we will hopefully be back very soon. I do miss seeing everyone once a month. That was, you know, that's what kind of gave me the push and the love that I needed to keep writing last year. Even though, like I said, the second half of the year was really weird for me when it came to my writing. I was barely writing anything, and everything I did write, I felt like it was not up to par, not Natalie good, if that makes any sense to you guys. I felt like my writing was a little bit weaker at the end of the year last year, and not what I know I'm capable of, and not what you guys have usually heard from me. Hopefully this year will be a little bit better. Like, I know I can already see that my writing is becoming a lot stronger this year. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, so talking about your days, like, how was your day? What did you guys do today? You know, did you work on anything today? What are you guys up to? I don't know. Talk to me. I feel like I'm just, like, watching myself right now. I mean, obviously, because I'm looking into the camera, but, like, talk to me, people. I want to know what's going on with you guys. I mean, looking at myself is fun, but Well, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and keep this episode short. Thank you guys for tuning in, and for those of you who will be watching later, thank you guys for still tuning in, and share if you'd like. And I'm sorry for the awkwardness. Oh, shut up, Melanie. You get fat ass. Whatever. Well, anyways, yeah, like I said, feel free to share this video with your friends and family and the rest of your Facebook friends. I will be putting it on YouTube for those of you who would like to watch it on YouTube better and share it a little bit easier on there. Thank you guys for everyone who shared last week and was here last week. It was incredible and it was so amazing. I'm gonna be probably doing like a special show on the week of my birthday, because my birthday falls on a Friday this year in February the 17th, like I said earlier. So I'll be doing that show on the 15th, and I want to do like a little bit of a special show that day. So I'll be reaching out to some people possibly. So keep out on the lookout for that. But yeah. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I love you all. Have a great night. For those of you who are here from work, I will see you all tomorrow. But yeah, listen to the couple runnings that I did of Starved. I'll be putting a better video of that poem on Instagram like I did last week with Girls Like Me. So go onto my Instagram and I'll probably be uploading it here as well. Just the video of just the poem, so that it's easier for you guys to share that. But yeah, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in again, and see you guys next week for Written in Red Wednesdays.